Imagine being transported back in time to one of the most harrowing periods in human history. What would you do if you found yourself in the midst of the worst Nazi concentration camp? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another captivating episode of Moments in History. I'm excited to have you here as we delve into the depths of the past. In this video, we will explore some of the most chilling chapters of our collective memory, the darkest corners of the Nazi concentration camps. Brace yourself as we uncover the unimaginable stories, witness the indomitable spirit of those affected, and learn timeless lessons that resonate to this day. What would you do if confronted with the horrors of the past? How would you react? Take a moment to contemplate the choices you might make when faced with unspeakable adversity. Now, without any further delay, let's embark on this thought-provoking journey. Join us as we navigate the harrowing stories, examine the resilience of the human spirit, and strive to ensure that the horrors of Auschwitz-Birkenau are never repeated. Welcome to this captivating episode of Moments in History, our exploration of the Nazi concentration camp, Auschwitz-Birkenau. The Nazi concentration camps were a dark chapter in human history, representing the epitome of cruelty and oppression. These camps were established and operated by Adolf Hitler's regime during World War II, with the primary objective of imprisoning, exploiting, and exterminating millions of innocent people. While the majority of victims were Jews, the Nazis targeted various other groups as well, including political dissidents, Roma, LGBTQ individuals, disabled individuals, and more, all deemed undesirable based on the twisted ideologies of the Nazi regime. The conditions within these camps were nothing short of deplorable. They were characterized by severe overcrowding, unsanitary living conditions, and an acute lack of basic necessities such as food, clean water, and medical care. The prisoners endured daily hardships, malnutrition, and rampant diseases, which further weakened their already fragile physical and mental states. However, it was the deliberate and systematic torture that truly exemplified the barbarity of the Nazi concentration camps. The Nazis employed a range of horrific methods to dehumanize and break the spirits of those held captive. Physical abuse such as beatings, forced labor under grueling conditions, and medical experiments without consent inflicted immeasurable pain and suffering upon the prisoners. The goal was to crush any resistance, instill fear, and maintain absolute control over the incarcerated individuals. Within this environment of despair, the prisoners faced the constant threat of death. Those who were no longer deemed fit for forced labor were condemned to extermination. They were led into gas chambers disguised as showers, where they would face a horrifying end alongside countless others. The Nazi regime aimed to annihilate entire groups of people based on their race, religion, or perceived undesirability. Let us embark on a journey to explore the depths of Auschwitz-Birkenau, where the suffering of its unfortunate prisoners knew no bounds. Living conditions. Once inside the barbed wire fences of Auschwitz-Birkenau, the prisoners were thrust into a world of unimaginable suffering and degradation. The overcrowded barracks became their new homes, offering no respite from the harsh realities of their existence. These structures, initially intended to accommodate a fraction of the number of prisoners they now held, were teeming with despair, sickness, and despair. Sanitation within the camp was virtually non-existent. The limited latrine facilities were woefully inadequate, causing rampant hygiene issues and the spread of diseases. The stench of human waste and decay permeated the air, further eroding any remnants of dignity and humanity. Survivors recalled the constant struggle to maintain even a semblance of cleanliness amidst the filth and squalor. Sleeping arrangements were deplorable. The prisoners were crammed together, often with no more than a threadbare blanket or piece of straw to lay on. Starvation became a constant companion, causing physical weakness and a perpetual state of fatigue. The relentless cruelty of the SS guards further exacerbated the prisoners' suffering. Random acts of violence, beatings, and humiliation were a daily occurrence. The slightest infraction or perceived disobedience was met with brutal consequences. The the prisoners lived in perpetual fear, their survival hinging on their ability to navigate this treacherous landscape of abuse and subjugation. Yet even amidst the bleakness, flickers of resistance and resilience emerged. Secret networks were established, allowing prisoners to share meager resources, offer emotional support, and exchange vital information. These acts of solidarity provided a glimmer of hope in the face of overwhelming adversity. Medical experiments. Within the grim confines of Auschwitz-Birkenau, a haunting chapter of horror unfolded in the form of sadistic medical experiments conducted by the infamous SS doctor Josef Mengele and his associates. Stripped of their humanity, prisoners became subjects for grotesque and inhumane experiments that pushed the boundaries of cruelty. Twins in particular became objects of fascination for Mengele, who subjected them to a range of tortuous procedures in his pursuit of so-called scientific knowledge. These experiments inflicted immeasurable pain and suffering upon their unwilling victims. Twins were subjected to invasive surgeries without anesthesia, their bodies subjected to the surgeon's knife in the name of pseudoscience. Others were forcibly infected with diseases, their bodies becoming battlegrounds for the study of infectious diseases and the development of potential treatments for the German military. Forced sterilizations were also performed, stripping prisoners of their ability to conceive or father children. The scars left behind, both physical and emotional, would linger long after liberation, forever reminding survivors of the atrocities they had endured. The experiments carried out within the confines of Auschwitz-Birkenau represented the darkest corners of human depravity. They were a manifestation of the Nazi regime's complete disregard for human life and the ruthless pursuit of their warped ideology. The victims, trapped within the confines of this living hell, became unwilling participants in a grotesque theater of suffering and death. Executions and death. Within the harrowing confines of Auschwitz-Birkenau, the machinery of death operated relentlessly, leaving behind a haunting trail of unimaginable suffering. The gas chambers and crematoria, designed to deceive and betray, became the heart of the camp's genocidal operations. Innocent lives were extinguished in a chillingly efficient process of extermination, casting a dark shadow over the very essence of humanity. The victims, unsuspecting of their imminent fate, were deceived into believing they were entering showers to cleanse themselves. Instead, they were met with the release of deadly Zyklon B gas. The cries for help, the desperate gasps for air, and the sheer terror that enveloped them were met with the cold indifference of their captors. Families were torn apart, never to be reunited, as men, women, and children were ruthlessly condemned to the chambers of death. The scale of the executions and deaths at Auschwitz-Birkenau was staggering, with thousands of lives extinguished daily. The camp became a dark emblem of Nazi ideology, a place where human life was reduced to mere numbers on a list, where compassion and empathy had no place. The haunting echoes of the victims' final moments reverberate through history, reminding us of the profound consequences of unchecked hatred and bigotry. Resistance and revolts. Amidst the bleakness of Auschwitz-Birkenau, where hope seemed all but extinguished, acts of resistance and defiance emerged as small flickers of light in the darkest of times. Despite the constant threat of punishment and death, prisoners found ways to maintain their humanity and fight back against their oppressors. Under the cloak of secrecy, prisoners organized clandestine educational and cultural activities, preserving the richness of their diverse heritage and nurturing a sense of solidarity. Classes were held, where individuals shared knowledge, taught one another, and sought solace in the pursuit of intellectual pursuits. Cultural events, such as concerts and theater performances, allowed prisoners to briefly escape the horrors that surrounded them and find a moment of respite. One particularly courageous group within Auschwitz-Birkenau was the Sonderkommando, comprised of prisoners forced to work in gas chambers and crematoria. Fully aware of their impending fate, they risked their lives to document the atrocities and gather evidence of the Nazi regime's crimes against humanity. In October 1944, the Sonderkommando staged a daring uprising, fighting against their captors with limited weapons and facing overwhelming odds. Although their rebellion was ultimately suppressed, their heroic actions serve as a testament to the indomitable spirit of resistance. Through these acts of defiance, the prisoners of Auschwitz-Birkenau displayed an unwavering determination to assert their humanity, even in the face of unimaginable cruelty. Their actions were beacons of hope in a sea of despair, reminding us that the human spirit can endure and resist even under the most dire circumstances. Today, we honor the memory of those who resisted and revolted within the walls of Auschwitz-Birkenau. Well, that brings us to the end of this video. With hope, this video answered your questions and satisfied your curiosity. Make sure to leave your thoughts and theories in the comments. To not miss your next history class, make sure to subscribe to our channel and help us by liking this video. Bye.